This is the first part of a cosplay tutorial on how to make yourself look like Maki Zenin. Now this is the makeup tutorial portion. There's also going to be a portion of how to make the sword, along with also how to make the wig. I've been also working out for about a year and a half, and I've been doing that to do this cosplay. So let's get into it. This is how you start off the makeup. Your skin should be clean, and you should be using a primer. I'm using this primer that is from Vanilla. The stuff smells great, and it's a lighter type of primer. Then I'm going to be using some foundation. This is also from Vanilla as well too. I guess it's a 100-hour foundation, which is kind of wild. I normally use something like this, or I will end up using SheGlam. SheGlam's great, very inexpensive, and I think it works amazing for cosplays or pretty much anything that you want to do. After I have my layer of foundation down, and I've noticed with at least this one, I don't really have to put too much underneath it to do other correcting. Then I'm putting on this netting to get my hair up and away from the makeup I'm going to be doing. Usually when I put my hair up, you see I'm taking my hair, swirling it around, and flattening it. Then I'm going to take this netting, fold it one more time, and put it over itself. Then I'm putting on that flesh-toned bald cap. It's just another mesh netted one. And I'm using some bobby pins at the side to keep everything in place. Now I'm just putting this all on to keep my hair out of the way. It makes it easier, and it just makes everything so much easier when I'm putting on the wig. This product, I forget exactly what it's called, but I will have it linked in the description. It's from SheGlam, and the color of it is soft tan. It's like a gray undertone. This stuff is amazing for sculpting out different areas on the skin. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing two thin lines on my nose to thin it out, a circle on the bottom of it, and I'm extending those lines all the way up to where my eyebrow is. Where my chin is on the outer portion, I'm also sculpting out that area of my chin, putting just a bit by the sides of my eye, and then I'm going to blend everything out. You can also see that I am blending the sides just a little bit with the actual product itself, and then I'm using a makeup sponge to blend everything out further. Normally, these areas that you have put down a cosmetic onto, you will want to follow up with some powder cosmetic. This is the one that I'm using. This is a powder tone of the same soft tan that I use, so it has some cooler gray tones to it. And I'm going back over those areas with this somewhat angular but fluffy angular brush. And I'm just very lightly blending that and applying that cosmetic to the area, using the bristles to brush it, and then moving over to a softer brush to further blend everything. I'm also putting some of this tone over my eyes. That's going to make it easier to put on more eyeshadow. And I'm following up at the side with some more of that color. I put it underneath my eye as well, and I'm making these wings slightly upwards. My eyes are slightly hooded along with also almond shape, so the way that I'm doing the makeup is I'm extending this line outward. At the top here, it's going to where the center of my eye is, but I'm keeping it tight to the upper portion of my lid. You see right there that I'm connecting the bottom, leaving some space from the bottom lid, making sure I'm not going into the eyelashes and connecting that up. Extending a line at the edge, extending a line down, and then filling in just a very thin amount from the inner portion all the way up to the upper portion of the wing. The brown that I'm also using is going to be used as a line that I'll trace and further add more cosmetic into. Always have a reference up as well. I used a reference where Maki looked like she was really pissed off for how I was going to shape these eyes. Then I'm filling in with some of that cosmetic that I'd used before, so the neutral gray tone color. That's going to give some more shadow, a little bit more depth to everything. And I'm also extending the upper fold of my eyelid. That's going to just make my eyes look bigger. Using some of the brown eyeliner that I have, extending it further. It's also going to make it look like I have more of a RBF. Then I'm going back in with a thin black eyeliner, connecting that upper line. So it's a very, very thin and elongated triangle, and using some black eyeshadow to blend it further. I'm not using a ton though. I'm only filling in some of that upper space. Then I'm using a light brown eyeshadow to make an aguso, or just that underbag tear area. I'm filling in some of the upper portion with more of that gray tone, and I'm doing that mainly just at the edge to fill in some of that space, along with also add some more shadow. Then I'm doing a little tiny cut crease. Very important, makes the eyes pop so much. I'm pressing white eyeshadow to about halfway of where my eyelid is, blending it, and that's for the upper portion. I also put some down underneath for the bottom portion. You can see it right there. And then I'm filling in the tear area with just a little tiny bit of some red tone. I also did a very light amount from where the separation is from my bottom eyelashes and also the wing. Then I took some very, very light brown, put it in the upper portion of where the eye fold is for my eyelid, drew some little bottom lashes. Easiest way to do that is drawing some elongated triangles. Practice on your hand before you practice on your face. Messing up my eyebrows. Normally, I'll typically end up gluing down my eyebrows, but because this is a female look, I didn't have to fully and totally. I just wanted to puff up my eyebrows, fill it in with some dark brown cosmetic to make them look just a little bit longer, along with also thinner at the edge and more put together. Added some more of that neutral gray tone to my bottom chin, along with also the side. Blended everything out. Make sure when you're blending this, you blend it from your neck and down. Very important, or it's going to look patchy. And then for my lips, I started with a neutral matte tone lip gloss. Not really gloss because it's not glossy, but it's a matte lip gloss. We'll just call it that. Then I went in with some of this lip stain. The lip stain that I'm using is from Sushi Glow Cosmetics. Love it so much. Great company, great product, and I'm extending the upper portion of my lip with some of that lip stain. I'm only really extending just that upper little middle section to make it look like my lips are slightly bigger, a little bit more poofed out. And I'm using the lip stain to paint it on, just like that. Then I'm filling it in with more of that matte lip gloss. Again, it's not really lip gloss, it's just matte lip whatever. Then adding dark tone cosmetic, so a little bit of powder cosmetic to both sides of my lip, leaving the center with none. Adding highlights to the tip of my nose, the bridge of my nose, up to my forehead, slightly under my eyes, along with also on my cheekbone, and on my chin. These are areas where light would hit anyway. Also put a little bit under your eyebrows if you want them to pop more. And after that is down, then it's on to doing the actual burns, well, the fake burns for this makeup, which is going to be a red tone cosmetic, so just some eyeshadow, and you're going to lightly stack it. So make sure you're using a nice and fluffy brush. Go back and forth with it, and tap it onto your skin. Pretty much do this in like almost a zigzag pattern. Some areas should be darker, some areas should be lighter. Extend that all the way down onto your neck. Continue onto your forehead, and then do the same exact thing on the other side. Have a reference as well too. I kind of just went with it. The burns that Maki has, it all really depends on what picture or what portion of the anime that you look at. They do look different in pretty much almost every panel. So find one that looks good for what you want to do and just roll with it. Then for your arms, if you're going to be putting this onto your arms, use a primer, remove any jewelry that you have, and put it down. I used a very generous amount of this primer. It is plumping, it is hydrating, it is great smelling. And it's going to grip the cosmetic really well. If you don't use a primer, it's not going to grip as well, and it's just going to be harder. So exactly what you did for your face, you're going to do the same thing for your arms. Just make sure you are extending it all the way underneath where your clothing is. Clothing, of course, naturally moves. So if you're going to be going to a convention with this, extend it slightly under where your clothing is. And again, just roll with it. Now, I'm putting the scar over my right eye, so darker red, filling it in the center with just a small bit of a dark brown. And if you really want to get technical with this, and you want to make some of the scars shine, you can use some liquid latex. Put it over what you already put down for the cosmetic, tap it on there, but do keep in mind if you're going to be going to a convention, it will start to peel, especially if you're sweating. The summertime is literally the worst time to have anything like this on your body. It will peel, it will come off, and it will remove any of the makeup that is underneath it. So I don't suggest having this on for the summer. Maybe if you're doing something for the fall, probably a lot better, but if you're sweating, it's gonna come off. If you want to add some additional texture, you can always stack it, but remember, latex dries in different layers. Then I'm putting on the wig, which I made this wig. It was a really long wig before, and there will be a tutorial soon on how to make your very own wig for a Maki Zenin cosplay or a short hair styled wig tutorial. Then at the edges, to get them to stick down, I'm using some hairspray. You can also use eyelash glue just to get it to stick further and keep it in place. But hairspray is what I wanted to use because it was pretty much shaped to my head. And there is my final makeup look. Thank you all so much for watching. There's going to be 2 more tutorials on 1, how to make the sword, and 2, how to make the wig. Happy con season, have a lot of fun, go to many conventions, and let me know what I should be doing in one of my next makeup tutorials. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I've been training for a very long time to do this cosplay. It was a lot of fun to do. So glad that I finally completed my Maki Zenin cosplay, and I'll see you all in the next one, okay? Bye!